All right, welcome to 5 Live Free Code School. Okay, cool. I'm excited. We're getting farther and farther into SQL, and we're soon approaching the point where we can start to connect applications we build over to a database. But first, I want to do a continuation of what we're working on Monday, and then expand into a bit more of a complex SQL project. On Monday, what we're starting to really cover is the idea of making your SQL tables really contain data related to only one thing and not combining multiple things into one table. And I want to finish a little bit of illustration on that by actually getting some relationships between tables established. So there was homework I assigned right at the end of Monday. If I recall, let me pull up my, I'm going to share my screen and I'll pull up MySQL. The big thing I was really looking at is, first of all, if we look here at, let's see, none of these are back, so I'm gonna have to run the query again. There's the insert, where's the read? Yeah, let me go and run select from customer. The first thing was for this customer named Bob Gross to give them an address ID of 1. And I think if we go over to address, or select all from address, there it is, it's at the bottom here. If I run that, we've got our 2 addresses. We've already said that for Eric, he's related to address 2 in Portland, but we wanted Bob to be associated with address 1 over in New York. So if we look at that, did everybody get that done? Okay, I'm assuming that you did something like this, where you went update customer set address equal to 1, where ID equals 2. Is that correct? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Second thing was to make it so that we have a constraint built into the database where you're only allowed to enter an ID in this address ID column that relates to an actual existing ID over in the address column. Did anybody get that done?
No.
I did
Okay.
not.
Okay. Dana, do you mind sharing how you did that?
Do you mean where you were saying to join the 2 tables?
Not to join, but putting in a constraint where when you do try to add a record to the customer table, now let me go and share my screen again to clarify it. And then Sudesh, you said you got this working, right?
I didn't, no.
Oh, didn't? Okay, good. All right, well, we'll build it right now with everybody then. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's, before we build it, I want to just make sure that the concept is fully understood. So remember how we add in customers. In fact, let's just add in another customer. Let me see if I can find the insert. Yeah, insert into customer. Let's do another one, okay? It's gonna be Jane Doe. I want everybody to follow along, do what I'm doing. So we'll enter Jane Doe in as a customer, and she's gonna be Jane Doe at gmail.com, and she's gonna be 30. Now, I'm also going to specify when I do this insert, the address ID. Now, if we go back to the structure of the customer table and the columns, we can see there is an address ID column. So I should be able to insert right here an address ID. Let's say she lives in New York. So she's associated with that ID of 1. Are there any questions about what I just changed here? Okay. All right, now let's go and run it. And that looks like it worked. If we go down to the bottom here and do a select all, now follow very closely or you'll insert another record. Select all from customer and only highlight that portion. And then run it. We should see we now have Jane Doe in there. And she has an address ID of 1. All right, let me, just so I'm up to date where you guys are, let me run this. I'm gonna update it so you guys have what, so I have what you have. If I do this, select all from customer, I should get, okay, there it is with Eric lives in Portland and Bob and Jane live in New York. Any questions so far? All right, now let's look at a danger we have in our file right now. Go to the insert again. Here's my insert. Lower that down a lot. Now we're going to do an insert for John Doe. And he, of course, is johndoe@gmail.com. And he is going to live at address 3. Now, this doesn't make any sense, right? There is no address 3 in our address table. But let's run it. And look, it worked. If we go down and do our select all from customer, there we have John Doe associated with address 3. Now, what's the problem here?
We don't have an address 3.
Exactly. If we're assuming, because of the way we're designing these tables, we're designing them, we get to define these connections or these relationships. We're assuming that what's supposed to be in this address ID column ends up being the primary key of an actual row over in the address table. But we don't have a row in the address table with an ID of 3, so we have a problem. We could illustrate that by doing the join. Now, who got the join done? Dana did, Alexandra, you did? Okay, and Sudesh, did you get the join done?
I had a look. I didn't do.
Okay, that's totally fine. Let's look at the join and we'll see a bit of what the problem is. So Dana, go ahead and share your screen and show us the join you have.
Okay.
All right, so we're joining from customer and we're joining it to address. And the 2 columns that we're choosing are over in the customer table, the address ID should be equal to over in the address table, the ID. That's correct. Okay, good. Now, right now, in terms of the selects over on lines 5 through 8, you only are selecting things from the customer table. Your syntax is great. Okay, run this and it should work. Let me see the result.
Oh wait, actually, I think this is the wrong one.
Okay.
I believe it was this one. Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Excellent. So that way you got everything. Okay, good. Let me get some zoom controls out of the way so I can see this better. Okay. Yeah. So go ahead and run that bad boy. Oh, there it is. Bob. Yeah. First name, last name, and you got some aliases on there, like we talked about. That's excellent. All right. So expand that. And you see part of the problem. We don't have anything for John Doe.
Mhm.
And the reason why is line 16, we're checking to see whether in the customer table, there exists an address ID that happens to equal an ID over in the address table, and we don't have one because we're looking for an address ID of 3, and there isn't an ID in the address column of 3. So this is a real problem. Now, what we want to build into the database is a restriction. Show me where you have your insert where you added John Doe when you were following along, Dana. Okay, let's see. Yeah, no, that's the update. It's the insert that we just did. I know we've got a bunch of tables open or tabs.
No.
Let's create. Take your time.
Sorry, I might have lost it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, good. So we added 3. What we want to do is have the database check when it tries to do the insert and see whether that value 3 exists over in the address table before it allows the insert to happen. We want to control the behavior of our database. We're going to add what's called a constraint. Now, we already have one existing constraint. We have an existing constraint that on the ID column, the first column, it's got to be unique. You can't use the same value twice in the table. So we already have one constraint, but that's for the primary key on this table. We want a constraint on that foreign key in the address ID column that says, hey, don't enter something that isn't valid. So we're going to add a constraint, and it's called a foreign key constraint. So Dana, why don't you Google MySQL foreign key constraint?
Are we doing W3 schools or just?
Yeah, try that. That'll be awesome. They almost always have, and we're real familiar with them, so that's good. There we go. So the foreign key constraint is used to prevent actions that would destroy links between tables. Well, we certainly have that. We have a destroyed link. We're trying to link in the customer table with a value of 3 for address ID. We're trying to link from there over to the address table, and it's broken. So a foreign key is a field in one table. It refers to the primary key in another table. We've talked about this. The table with the foreign key, the table with the foreign key is called the child table. So in our example, which table is the child table?
Address.
Yes, the address is the child table. The table with the primary key that we're pointing to is also called the reference table or the parent table. Oh, no, that was wrong, Sudesh. The table with the foreign key is called the child table. So what's the child table? Where is the foreign key?
Is it in the customer table?
Yeah, in the customer table, the column called address ID is meant to contain foreign keys. Does that make sense, Sudesh?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the child table is customer. The reference or parent table is address. So scroll down to the syntax and let's see if we can sort this out. All right, so if you look at the SQL there, a lot of this is very similar to stuff we've already done. We've done create table. We've given it a primary key. In this case, it's the column called order ID. But what we haven't done so far is, first of all, you see line 3 where it says order number. No, that's not, no, never mind. Person ID int. The final line, foreign key, person ID, references in the persons table, the column called person ID. So in this case, what's the child table? In this example, what is our child table? Go back up to the description of child table. Very top there. Okay. The table with the foreign key is called the child table. The table with the primary key is called the referenced or parent table. So let's use child and parent. Go back down. Which one's the parent? It even says references.
The persons table.
Exactly, which means that our orders table, where we're adding this foreign key, is the child table. So again, in our example, with the customer table and the address table, which one's the child and which one's the parent?
The child is the customer table.
Right, which means address is the parent. Okay, good. So what we need to do is modify our table, the customer table, and add in a foreign key. So let's see if we can work out the syntax for it. Let's open a new tab. I know we've got a million tabs here. Put your use statement so we make sure we're using the right database. Use sample, excellent. And now alter table orders. We could look this syntax up, but we just did it the other day. And then hit enter. I think it's add, try the word add. Foreign key. I don't think this is right. So let's go and look up the syntax. Open another tab. Oh, wait, it's right there on the left. It says SQL alter table. So 6 up. Yeah, there it is. Alter table. Okay, go down a little bit and find foreign key, SQL foreign key, to see if it shows us a way to add it to an existing. No, on the left, let's go to foreign key, where we were. So this is on create table. Let's see if we can go down and find one for alter table. Yeah, there it is. SQL foreign key on alter table at the bottom. Okay. To create a foreign key constraint on the person ID column where it's already created. All right. So alter table orders. Oh, yeah, I said orders. I'm an idiot. Customer. I was just reading what it said. Customer. Add foreign key. And then can you move your cursor out of the way? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, and what column in the customer table are we going to use as the child, the foreign key?
Address ID.
Exactly, address underscore ID. Good job, Sudesh. Okay, and then references. And then what's the other table?
Is it going to be customer?
Yep. And in parentheses, there should be no space after customer. What's the column? Yeah, just ID, exactly. And parentheses, give me a semicolon. Now, when we try to run this, it's going to fail. So go to run it, and we'll talk about why it failed. Oh, it worked. Let's see. 4 affected. I thought it would fail because we have an existing 3 in there already. So alter table customer, add foreign key. 4 rows affected. I guess MySQL will let you do this. Some servers won't even let you do it because right now we still have our incorrect data in there. We have the address ID of 3 in the customer table where we don't have an address of 3, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and try and do it again. Go to your tab that allows you to add new customers. Take your time finding it. I know we have a million of them. Actually, go back to the beginning, the query 3, and just close that tab. We're not going to create the table anymore. There it is. Okay, good. All right, so let's add Darla Darling. That's her name, Darla Darling. And give her an email address that makes sense. Excellent. Okay. And now let's try to do that. Let's try to give her an address ID of 3. See what happens. It works. So something's wrong. It shouldn't allow that. All right. So let's see what we've done wrong here. Do me a favor and let me see that select all. There it is. We've got 5 in there. We have Darla Darling. Show me your address table. Like select all from the address table, wherever you need to. There you go. Good job. That is really, really odd. Okay, so on your customer table over on the left in the navigator, right click on the word customer. Actually, open up a brand new blank tab here, an editor tab. Okay, now right click on customer, and we're going to see what the structure of this thing is. Click create table. Oh no, wrong one. Close that tab. I apologize. What we're going to do is right click on customer again. Go down to send to SQL editor, halfway down, and create statement. We're going to see if we're going to create this, what would it look like? All right. On line 6, right after the semicolon, at the beginning of line 6, hit enter a couple of times. That's where the cursor was when I gave you that. All right, so create table. That's weird. We have 2 foreign keys on there, and they're identical. Oh, we did our syntax wrong. Look at line 18 or 19, they're identical. We're referencing the customer table, but that's the table we're in. Go back to the tab where we altered the table, and I think I may have messed us up. Go ahead and just close that tab so we can clean things up a little bit. Yeah, close that the create database one. Close that one too.
This one? Sorry.
Yeah, close that one. Just clean things up a little bit. You close that one too. Close that. We can always rebuild these if we need to. That's your join, so we'll keep that. All right, yeah. Oh, yep, that was my fault. We were supposed to reference the address customer. Okay, so, well, fine, we'll get ourselves in these things. Let's find out how to remove a foreign key. So Google MySQL remove foreign key. Let's do the 5th one that says 13.1.17.5. Yeah, right there. That's the MySQL site. Let's see that one. MySQL supports foreign keys, cross-referencing related data. Scroll down, let's see if there's anything about removing it. You probably way towards the bottom. There's adding. Keep going. Foreign key errors. Keep going. Scroll up a little bit. A little bit more. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, stop. All right, I don't like this. This is not a very friendly site. Navigate backwards and let's go to our search results again. Let's do the one right below it. MySQL drop foreign key constraint. How to drop foreign key constraint MySQL. Gee, that's a lot friendlier. All right. copy that syntax and give ourselves a new table. All right, now, so the table we're going to alter is customer, right? No. Control Z that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yep, totally fine. Now we need the name of the foreign key constraint. We can get that from that. Remember how I scripted out the create of the table? All right, the name is it's red in single quotes. Customer underscore IBF key. Yeah, that one. There's two of them. So in the red, it says customer underscore IBFK underscore 1. Yeah, copy that whole thing. That's the name of the constraint. All right, so go back. And I think we have to put it, and just paste it. Let's run that and see if it'll do it. Oh, well, yeah, single quotes, I think. Nope, it's blown up. Take away the quotes. All right, yeah, run that. That worked. Now we have another one in there that's underscore 2. So change at the end, underscore 2. Okay, good, run it. Now, delete everything in here. And let's script it out again. Let's script out the table, delete everything, all of it. Okay, now right click on customer and we'll do that create thing again. Go down to send to SQL editor, create statement. And look, the foreign key is gone. So that's how you remove a foreign key. You don't have to memorize that at all. I didn't. I just knew we could find the syntax somewhere. Okay, good. So now let's try to add it again. Try to find that tab where we add the constraint. And I gave you the wrong data. Yeah. So on line 4, we're not referencing the customer table. We're referencing the address table. That's totally on me. All right. Run that. And it fails. This is what I expected. Cannot add or update a child row. Now, a foreign key constraint fails. It tells you where the problem is. It's in the child. We're referencing a child that doesn't exist. What's the child we're referencing that doesn't exist?
Is it the customer?
Well, look in the customer table. If you need to select all from customer somewhere, do that. You should all be following along what she's doing. Select only that and run it. The problem is in lines customers 4 and 5. We're referencing a child row that doesn't exist. The child table is what table? It's this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this table, we're referencing something that doesn't exist. So we're trying to add this constraint, but what's nice about MySQL is it says, okay, I appreciate that you're running this constraint, but you're already violating it. So I'm not allowed to add the constraint. We have to get our data in order. We've got to fix it before it will let us add the constraint. So we need to change the address ID on lines 4 and 5 to what? What are our choices that we can change it to?
So either 1 or 2,
Good. Explain why.
because those are the only available address choices currently.
Spot on. Exactly. So I'm going to let you take it from here, and any of you can help. I want you to change those 2 addresses to something valid. And I'm not going to give any hints unless you ask me for them.
Am I just updating them here?
That's an insert. That'll try to add a new row.
So
Can anybody help her?
I think I'm doing an alter table.
What do you guys think?
I think there's a update statement we can use. I think that's what we did before.
We need to add address ID, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to add valid address IDs in there, or rather, we need to change what's there to be referencing a valid address ID.
So it's
There
altered.
we go.
Okay.
It is an alter. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to explain this again because it's super important. Let's think about a table. There's two aspects to a table. There's its structure, what kind of columns it has, what kind of data types, what relationships it has with other tables. That's all structure. If you want to change the structure, that's when you use alter table. What we want to do is change the data inside the table. We want to change what's in the rows, and that's update. Do you see the difference, Sudesh?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. So this is exactly right on the left. We need an update. We're going to update the customer table. What column is it that we want to change the data in?
We're updating the address ID.
Excellent. So go ahead and put that column name. And what do we want to set it equal to? 1 or 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah, let's just do 1. Well, we're totally fine. Now, don't run this because it's going to change it for every single row in the table. By the way, there's no comma at the end of this. If you look at that example, it doesn't end with a comma, it ends with ellipsis, meaning are there more columns? Good. So how do we restrict it to only fix the rows we want?
We would set wherever it's listed as 3.
Ooh, I like that. Yes. Go ahead and run it out that way, but don't run it yet. That would absolutely do it. Does anybody have any questions about why that's how that works or why that's correct? Now, let me show you another way you could do it. We happen to know, go and look at the, let's look at our table, the contents of the customer table. You have that open in another tab, right?
Probably do.
We know that it's rows 4 and 5 that are incorrect, right? So go back to your alter or your update. And at the end of line 6, erase the equals 3. And I'll show you another way you can do it. Both of them will work. Type in, space, and in parentheses, put 3, 4. That might work. Is there a red under there? There isn't, is there? Okay. So this is just another way of doing it. It'll find address IDs. Change ID in 3 and 4. In 6, where ID in 3 or 4. Just ID. Yeah, now let's look at that logic. So we're looking in the customer table still. We're looking at the ID column. And if it's, it's 4 and 5. Go back. I'm glad we looked. And we're saying if the ID happens to be somewhere, one of the values included in parentheses, then it will also get changed. So either one will work. Any questions about that logic? Okay, good. Go ahead and run it. And that worked. Let's go back and run that select again. And look, we changed it. Excellent. Now let's try to add our constraint. Can you find that add constraint tab? I know we have a lot of them. I think it's the last one. Nope. Oh, we deleted it all, didn't we?
Mhm.
Okay, that's fine. So go back to, you can even go there and hit Control Z and go back to everything, or we can look it up again.
Oh, I think I want to look it up again.
Yeah, this is good. By the way, everything we're doing here is things that I would do if I was looking this stuff up. It may be going slower, but that's just because I do it faster because I've done it several times. But it's the same thing you guys would go through.
Was it on W3 Schools? Or?
Yeah, it was. I think it was on foreign key, down towards the bottom, because it was like, there it is on alter table. Yeah. Good job on remembering that every time. All right, so alter table, which customer, which table? All right, and in this child table, customer, which column are we going to add the foreign key constraint onto?
Address ID.
Yep. Do you understand that, Dana?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, and we're going to reference which table, which is the parent?
Address table.
Yep, address. And over in that table, what column are we binding it to?
The ID column.
Awesome. All right, let's run that. And that worked. Are there any questions about why it didn't work the first time we tried it? Good. All right, so now find that join. There it is. Run that bad boy. And now we get all 5 people. Any questions about what we just did? Okay, good. Excellent. So this area of primary keys and then foreign keys that point to another table is one of the most important things to know when working with databases. Now, most of the time, you're not going to be creating the database from scratch. I've led you through this 2-table database exercise just so you can see what happens. I'm going to show you one more complication of it. Let's say that Eric Gross calls in and he's like, I never want to do business with you people again because I looked at my horoscope and it said that I should break off all existing relationships with companies or something stupid. Let's say we want to delete Eric Gross as a customer. I'm going to have you stop sharing data. That's really well done. Good job. And Sudesh, I'd like you to drive for a little bit. Go and share your screen. Were you able to follow along and do everything she did, Sudesh?
Except the join.
Okay, good. Let's build the join right now. It never hurts to get practiced in doing joins. So give us a brand new tab. Can you give us a new editing tab? Do you know where to do that? Yeah, right there. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So make sure you put use and then put the name of the database. Okay. And then how do you think, do you have an idea of how to get started on this? If not, I'll lead you through it. Did you hear me?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I was following the W3 school.
Oh, good
Right.
job. Okay, yeah. Go ahead and go through and see if you can figure this out. All three of us are here for you at any point to step in and help, okay?
Yeah.
I'm reasonably sure you don't have a column called customer ID. In fact, you can see it off to the left there. What are the columns in your customer table called?
ID, yeah.
Yeah. So it's dot ID would work. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to stop you for a second just to give you something to make this a little bit easier. When I'm building joins, I don't start with defining the columns that I'm going to choose out of the data set that gets returned. I do that after I've created the join. So instead of selecting all those different columns, just do select star. Perfect. Now start joining your tables. What's the table you want to start from?
Customer.
Okay, good. So on line 4, go ahead and put, no. Line 4 is where you start. From the starting point, joining to the destination point. What's the destination table you're joining to?
Address.
Good. So after the inner join, give the name of that table. There you go. Excellent. Now you choose which columns to match and which tables and which columns. Okay, so let's talk about this. Consider the customer table for a second, Sudesh. On the left there, look at the columns. We're missing a column. You need to refresh that schema. Do you know where the refresh icon is? Yeah, click that. Okay, so look at those columns. What you're saying is, in the customer table, we're going to look at the ID column. Show me where it says that we're going to look at the ID column in the customer table. Good, right there. Now change it to lowercase just so we make sure it matches. Okay, we're going to look there, and we're going to take whatever's in there. Let's say it's the number 1, and we're going to look over in the address table at the ID column, and we're going to see if those things match. That's what you're saying in this line, right?
Yeah, custom ID and address ID.
Okay, so if I want to connect, never mind the syntax, just look at these two tables, the customer table, look at that table, the customer table. Where in the customer table are we pointing to the address table?
Address ID.
Okay, so why are you trying to match on the ID table when you look over at the address table? Sorry, why are you trying to match on the ID column in customer? Is that information in the ID column? I'm going to ask this question very carefully. Look at the customer table. Look at the ID column.
Yeah.
Does that number have anything to do with the address table? What is that number for? What is the ID? There's going to be data in there. It's going to be numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever. What is that? What is that data?
It's customer ID.
Right. Does it have anything to do with addresses?
Not the custom ID, no.
Right. Now look at the address ID column. What information are we storing in there?
The address ID related to that customer.
That's close. What we're storing is a number related to the address table. The number that we store in that column should be the same as a primary key over in the address table. Any questions about that?
Yeah.
There is a question?
No, I think,
Okay.
yeah, it's a primary key of the address table. We are referencing in the customer table, yeah.
Good. So when we're going to join these two things, we're going to connect from customer table over to the address table. Which columns are we looking for a match in? Right now, you're saying we're looking for a match in the ID column of the customer table. See if it matches or equals the ID column in the address. Is that what that's what it says on line 5, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we want to check to see if they're the same? Let's look at a concrete example. Let's say we find an address, let's say in the address table, there's an ID of 2. Where in the address table, look up at the address table. Let's say there's an ID of 2. Okay. I want you to, in a separate tab, select everything from the customer table. If you need to you open a new tab, oh, there it is. Select everything from the customer table. Go ahead and run that. Okay, so there's something wrong.
Yeah, I did few other lines.
You didn't do the alter. Like, if you look at line, okay, this is a learning moment. So just stop for a moment and we'll just go through some stuff. I want you to look at customers 5 and 6. What's wrong with customers 5 and 6?
Got the number that doesn't exist in the address.
Right. So that needs to get fixed. We can't have that point. What happened? Oh, we can't have that point date, something that doesn't exist. So give me a new tab, a new editor tab.
I think it's
Use sample. Alter table customer. Oh, sorry. Update customer. Because we're changing the data. We're going to change those. Okay. Hit enter. Set address ID equal to 3. Sorry. Set address ID equal to 1. Enter. Where address ID equals 3. All right, run that, and that will change all your 3s to 1s. Hold on, you are using safe update mode. Roll over that error code. I want to see what it says at the bottom. Okay, good. All right. It wants us to specify the ID of the rows instead of the address ID. So change that to where ID. Yeah, change the address. Just erase everything on line 5 except for the word where. Okay. ID space in space. Okay, now go back to, I want to see which rows in the customer table we need to change. So show me where all the customer tables are. Yeah, there it is. So we need to change line 3 because it's null, and line 5 and 6. So go back. And in parentheses, put 3, 5, 6. All right, run that and see if it'll let us do it. Okay, good. Now we shouldn't have any invalid ones. So go back to your customer table. Run it. All right, now those are all valid address IDs, correct?
Yeah. One and two.
Okay, all right, good. Now, let's go back to the join. Oh, actually, just stop you for a second. Okay, now, we're trying to join from this table over to the address table, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to use one column in this table and see if the information in that in that column matches a column in the address table. That's how we're going to know where to join. Like, let's look at line 1. Okay, this is you, Sudesh. When we get to address ID of 2, what we're going to do is reach over to the address table and find if something matches there. And if it does, we're going to select all of that row as well. Does that make sense?
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah, everything on that address ID number 2 row, all the information.
Right. So go back to your join that you were creating. You can close that tab to get rid of it. Okay, so if we're going to join from the customer table to the address table, tell me again which column in the customer table I'm going to use to try to find a match in the address table.
ID.
Now look at this table for a second. This is the customer table, right?
Yeah.
In this table, if I want to connect over to the address table, where am I storing address table information here? Which column in this table stores address information? Address ID, correct?
Address ID, yeah.
Okay. So why are you trying to find out whether the ID column here, the one on the left, matches something over in the address table? We don't care about that connection. We want to see if something in the address ID column here matches. Go back to your
Right.
join. Go back to your
Yeah.
join. Look at line 5. You're saying in the customer table, and then after the dot, you have ID, correct?
Yeah.
That's saying the ID column in customer table. We don't care about the ID column.
Yeah.
Stop. Go back to customer. Here's what the problem might be. What do you think goes on the left part of that dot? And what goes on the right? What were you about to change the word customer to?
To address.
Okay, what goes on the left and what goes on the right of the dot? On the left of the dot is the table, and on the right is a column in that table.
Right.
So I'm telling you, in the customer table, which is already written down to the left of the dot, I'm telling you to specify the column that you're going to match on. Column goes to the right of the dot. So move to the right of the dot. Erase the word ID. So in the customer table, that's to the left of the dot, what column are we going to look to for our information to try to match over to the address table?
Address ID.
Good, write that down. I think if you hit enter, it'll auto select it. There you go. Now, what we're saying here is we're looking the customer table at the address ID column. And then we'll look in the address table at its ID. And if they match, then we join those two things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Go ahead and run it. And let's look at Sudesh. Are your addresses the same? Show me all the contents of the address table. If you need to put it in a new tab, that's fine. In fact, just erase line 3. Oh, there you go. Yeah. All of your addresses are identical. That's a problem. Do you see why that's a problem?
Right.
Okay. So in order for this to make sense, when you try to read the data, they've got to have separate information. Yeah, they need to be different addresses. Because remember that each row here represents something that exists in the physical universe. Row 1 represents an actual place someone can live at 286 Grove Street, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What does line 2 represent? The same thing.
Same. Yeah.
So let's say that the council decides to change the name of the street and they say Grove-Bush. In other words, let's say the data about the actual physical place changes. How do we know which of these 4 entries should be changed? What you've done here is you've put a lie into the database. What this database says right now is that there's actually 4 places in the universe where there can really only be 1. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing to do is to remove those. So I want you to look up how to remove a row from a database in MySQL, from a table in MySQL. So go to if you've got another browser open, do MySQL remove delete row. I'm glad to see this because this is something that actually happens a lot in the real world. It can happen in a variety of ways. Let's say someone spells Grove with a capital G and someone spells it with a lowercase g. Let's say someone spells it with an ST period and someone spells it STREET. If we allow all those different variations to be entered into a database, then your database reflects lies, untruths, and it becomes very hard to manage your business. This is something that you'll encounter in the real world a lot. Is like, they call it dirty data. The data isn't clean. And that can mean a lot of different things, but this is one of them. Have you found some syntax to remove a row? Someone else want to look it up, see if they can find it for them? Unless you think you've got it.
It says delete from table name where condition.
Good, excellent. So give me a new tab. Not that, yeah. Okay, good. So put your use statement. So we use sample. Delete from, okay, good, excellent. So let's change the table name. No single quotes. Take away the single quotes as well. So what table? Yeah, there we go. Hit enter. to make it a little easier. Remove those square brackets. And remove the word condition. So go back and let's see which rows to change. I want to see everything in the customer table. Oh, it's the address table. Remember, it's the address table that we have all those rows in. So let's just remove rows 2, 3, and 4 and leave ourselves with only the first one. So, yep, absolutely. What do you think this should look like?
So something like this.
Yeah. Where ID is in. That's excellent. So go back to it. And which ID numbers do we want to remove?
2, 3, and 4.
Awesome. Good job, Sudesh. All right, run that bad boy. And it worked. Okay, now go back and select all the addresses and see that they're gone. I think it's at the bottom. There we go.
Yeah.
Good. Now let's insert another one. Okay. Change lines 12 through 16 to reflect another real world address. Yeah, that's work. That's totally fine. Don't worry. That's enough. We know it's different. Go ahead and hit run this bad boy, and we'll add another address in. It didn't run. There was an error. Did you see what the error was?
Unknown state.
Unknown column. It's saying that the column called state. First of all, do you know where the field list is? It says unknown column in field list. The field list is lines 4 through 8. Another word for field is column. Okay.
Yeah.
So you say it says the column called state is unknown. Why is it unknown? Because you capitalized it.
Oh,
And the actual column is not capitalized. Good, now run that. And you still got an error. So try to run it again. I want to see the error. Oh, you don't have a column called state. Look at your address table. Okay, go down to the very bottom and hit enter a couple of times. We're gonna fix that right now. Go to the very, very bottom, hit enter a couple of times. So do alter table address. I'm gonna add this column. Alter table address. No, alter table, yeah. Because remember, we're gonna change its structure now. So we're gonna use alter instead of update. Hit enter. Do add column. Space state. Space. And then we need to give its data type. Varchar. In parentheses, 255. Now select only that set of commands and run it. Yeah, run that. Okay, good. So that succeeded. Now delete all that. Delete that alter table. I don't want that there at all. I want to accidentally run it. Okay. Now try this insert.
Now my state is in the column is not in the right place.
Yep, it doesn't matter though, because in your field list, lines 4 through 8, that's where you define, it follows that. It doesn't
Okay.
need to be in the same order. So go to
All right.
run it. And it worked, and then it ran the select on line 19, and it showed you that you have them all.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good, excellent. Okay, so now let's go back to your join.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In this case, are we not also giving a value to the ID, the address ID?
No, because we've defined it as the primary key and it's set up for auto increment. So the MySQL Server program itself will come up with the next available ID number. In this case, it chose the ID number 5 because even though we deleted them, it knows it's already used for this table the numbers 1 through 4.
Okay. And there's no way to use those numbers?
No, not if you set it to auto increment.
Okay.
Yep. That was a really good question. All right, go to the join. So, remove that. Go back to tab 22. Yeah, close that bad boy. We don't want any deletes in there. All right, so run that again. Okay, good. Now, I would wager that every single one of your customers lives in address number 1. Go to your customer table, like I want to select everything from the customer and run it. Oh, Sudesh doesn't. Go back to your join. Ah. Now notice, this is really important. Notice that when we did this join, Sudesh is not in the results. Can anybody tell me why? Let's go look at this for Bob, for example. For Bob, who has an ID, a customer ID of 2, we went through the customer table and we got all the way to the address ID column. What's the address ID column for Bob? What is it? What's the value of address ID? One. And so then we ran over to the address table and looked for an ID of 1. Do we have that? There it is. Good. Now, keep that right there. Now, can someone tell me why Sudesh did not show up in the join result? What address ID does Sudesh have?
It's 5.
Nope.
It's 2.
It's 2. And we no longer have an address 2. Now, do me a favor if you would, Sudesh. I want to check on something. Open up a brand new blank tab. And then on your customer table, I want you to right click on the left there on customer and go down to, I can't see anything. Did you right click? Right click on the word customer. Okay.
Yeah.
Go down to send to SQL editor create statement. You didn't add in your constraints. If you tried to, they failed. Let me stop sharing for a second. Alexandra, can you share your screen?
Yeah, 1 second.
Yep.
Can you see it?
It's coming. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I want you to do the same thing. Right click on customer.
Okay.
And this is called scripting it out. Script out the create statement.
Oops, I did on the same thing.
That's totally fine. So it begins right there on line 15. Yeah, hit enter there a couple times. Okay, so Sudesh, look at her line 26. This is the foreign key that we were adding earlier. For some reason, yours failed, and it didn't add that foreign key. I'm just really curious about that. Okay. There's a lot of nuance here. We're covering a lot of ground. I understand. Okay. This is just number of times through it. Just work through all these labs and little things we exercises we have, and you'll get more and more comfortable with it. And remember, you can always look stuff up. All right. So here's what I want to do is I want to show you what this next lab is going to be that you're going to work on for homework. Okay. So go ahead and I'm going to take over. I'm going to look this up again. So give me just a moment. All right. So let me send this URL to everyone. I'm going to put it in. So homework, do this lab. All right. So the first thing is to define the schema for the database. In other words, what the tables are, what columns they have, and what data types the columns are, and relationships between that table and other tables. So that's all schema. There's no data in the tables yet. This is just what do the tables look like that are going to receive data? What are their columns? What are the relationships between each table and any other table? This SQL script that you'll make is going to add a bunch of data. This will do some updates. This will show you how to query. So let me show you. Where is the rest of this? All right, hold on a second. Oh, never mind, wrong one. This is the one you got to pay for. Let me find the right one. Just a minute. Almost ready. All right. This is going to be a little more work than I thought, because I don't want to have you guys sign up for a course. Okay, I'm gonna have to give you the library here in about 30 minutes. I'm not gonna keep you waiting, okay, or the library project. So we're gonna end off for now. I will put the library in Discord, the library lab, and then I'll be available all week long as you guys try to build it out. Please start on it earlier rather than later. So if you get stuck on anything, you have time to try to get it done. That's what we have for tonight. Has anybody got any questions? Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you for getting up early, Sudesh, or staying up late, Dana. I will see you all next Monday, and you'll have the homework as soon as I get the link done.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks
you.
all. Bye.